into Tisha Talks Live at 4:45, the holiday edition. And yes, it's me. If you didn't catch it, it is me, Tisha, with this nice little get up. So happy holidays to you if you were tuning in live to the show or catching the replay. And I just love this guy. I've had him on before, actually on Casual Convo Friday, and I was like, Robert, I need to have you back on the show. Let's keep talking about humor. I love humor. I love using humor. And today we're talking about how today's new humor tools let every business professional use humor with confidence. So welcome, Robert Bostick, out of the Bay Area, out of California. It's great to have you here. And yeah, happy holidays, friend.
Thank you, Tisha. Well, you're very festive, that's for sure. And we're 20 days or something away from the big day, and but you're getting everybody in the mood very quickly. And the excitement is building.
So, Robert, you were asking me, you're like, where did you get that? And I said, 99-cent clearance rack last year. So I always stock up for holiday stuff. So
you're amortizing. That's 2 years. That's down to 50 cents a year now.
I know. Got to be prepared. All right. So, Robert, the last time you were on, we were just laughing it up because we were just talking about jokes and, and what makes us laugh and how to set the mood and all this. And sorry, this is like really annoying me. But I have a joke for you to kick us off. All right. It's a holiday joke. So what did Santa say when he stepped into a big puddle?
He said, dang it.
He said, dang it. It rained here. Reindeer.
How come I can't get these jokes ahead of time? They're so good.
Oh, so funny. So funny. I have to give credit. My kiddos are always doing the fun jokes with me. And they were like, hey, this is a good one for your show. And I said, all right, I'm going to tell Robert that. I'm going to tell people that are tuning in. And hey, speaking of that, look at this. Nat Hamler is joining us off of LinkedIn. He says, hey, Tisha Claus, happy Wednesday. Good to have you. Now, I had to bring it. You just got to bring it when you go on a live stream or whatever stage you're on, you bring it. You own it and you bring it. So thanks so much for people who are tuning in live on LinkedIn, YouTube, or Facebook. Believe it or not, I have had people, Robert, like I was just at actually a memorial service on Saturday, and a woman came up to me and she said, I watch your Tisha Talks live all the time. And I was like, okay, I never know. So you just never know. You never know who's your audience. But let's get into it, shall we? I'm really excited about this topic. I'm going to take this off and you're going to see Tisha come back to life. Oh, there I am. Oh my gosh, you boys. I'm like sweating, like my upper lip is just sweating from all of this. It's hot. It's hot up in here. Oh my gosh. All right. Okay. So today we're talking about new humor tools and how business professionals can use humor with more confidence. And I've taken a lot of your suggestions, Robert, even from our last talk, and incorporated into my presentations. But I'd love to hear from you on how do humor tools build people's confidence, and how can it help them with their presentations, with their emails, with their social media, whatever platform they're on. How can they utilize humor to just to create that vibe and, that I want to get to know you more and I want to keep listening in.
You just nailed it. I want to get to know you more and I want to listen in. So what I've learned recently, I just mentioned you earlier, we're chatting, but I did a webinar, my first webinar, and last week, and I spent about a week preparing. And in preparing for it, I recorded myself going through it and then watching my recordings. And here I was so busy on the order of things and on the content and hitting all my marks. And in watching my, the replays of this thing, this is boring. Uh-oh. And here I've got all this content in here, but I realized I didn't really front load the real humor and the connection and the likability and the warmth and something up front that would kind of break the ice and tell them that I'm going to be fun to listen to. Mm-hmm. And so I did that. I then was kind of alarmed and shocked at myself that I'd missed that. Mr. Humor Point, missed load the front end with your best shot at putting a smile on your audience's face. Yeah. And so I did that and I hit that. So that was great. But that is like, I've learned that it doesn't matter what you're trying to communicate about or what platform, you really must establish your likability, your warmth, and your ideally your sense of humor. Now, the good news about a sense of humor is we don't have to have a funny personality to demonstrate a sense of humor.
Yeah.
We simply have to put in front of these people, either we say something that's a fun, pithy, witty statement they didn't expect that come out of us, or we show a really funny cartoon that we've handpicked, or a quote, or something that we've taken the time. And it doesn't matter how much time you take, you must take that time. Otherwise, you're leaving your audience in the lurch of like, oh, TikTok.
Yeah.
Is this going to be worth my time here? Are you going to be boring? Is this going to be fun or not? Oh, I'm getting a sense it may not be. I'm getting nervous that I'm going to want to get out of here. Oh, whether it be online, I have to exit out, or on a live presentation, you're stuck there. So you're doing the audience a favor. You're being polite by telling them up front. It's going to be enjoyable what you have to say, as well as useful and important what you have to say.
Right. I think that's the worst thing, is when you're the presenter and people are checking their time. They're like looking at it in front of you. They're checking their phones. It's like, I really think there should be a rule that when you're here, you're present, you're listening in. We've got a great speaker for you. And that really should be the expectation. But I know so many of us are like, nope, my mind's going 100 miles a minute. I've got other things on my mind. It's not here.
On the one side. On the other side, I've also heard people say it's the speaker's responsibility to put themselves in the audience's shoes. And I have to say, when I did that webinar and I reviewed my webinar, I was thinking, I'm the audience now. This speaker's not getting it done. And so it adds an additional responsibility to people who are presenting information live, webinar, podcast, whatever it is. They have to put themselves in the hearts and minds of their audience emotionally and say, am I taking care of them?
Right.
It's nice to want to have this high level, important value information you're sharing, but people need to feel good too.
Yeah.
And if their minds are thinking, okay, I could be reading this, seeing this, I'll see this later, there's nothing enjoyable here other than the supposed incredibly valuable information. That's on the speaker, the communicator, to at least knowingly drop 3 things into that presentation, beginning, middle, and end, or wherever you want to stack them, that tells the audience that you're aware that they're going to get, anxious, that they're not having fun now. They're just in like a classroom, a boring classroom, instead of an entertaining and enjoyable learning experience. And luckily, the reason I built Humor Point was so that people could actually, without having to have a sense of humor or think much of having, know how to do it, can go find things that amuse them, confidently drop it in there, know when they show that stuff, the audience at least going to smile. They can't help but smile because they picked something really special to them, they like. And that's the idea of the whole platform and the tools.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So speaking of that, so what makes cartoons so appealing when you add it to your presentation? I know I just used one of your cartoons. It was the first slide that I showed when I was speaking to one of the chambers of commerce out here in Arizona. And they were just laughing it up because they were like, oh my gosh, totally been there. Like it's great to resonate. So why do you think cartoons are just appealing? And I love that you said this earlier. Like, you don't have to be super funny. You don't have to have this crazy, amazing sense of humor, because the tools are out there. And that's what your company does, Robert, is you provide the tools for people to utilize. So why cartoons? Why are cartoons such a great way to do it?
First of all, you and I and most people are very busy dealing with our stressful lives. So we're lucky to laugh at something, stumbling over a can in the street. We laugh at ourselves for being so silly and dumb and stupid. Yeah. And so we can laugh at ourselves, but actually generating humor that someone else would find quite amusing is not our daily job.
Yeah.
But it turns out there are people, we go see stand-up comics because that's their daily job. But it turns out the sit-down comics, which are the cartoonists, that's their daily job. And they do this over and over again. You and I would be pretty good at it if we were doing it every single day, but we're not doing it every single day. So we have other fish to fry. But they don't have other fish to fry, actually. They're frying fish, cartoon fish, every day. So they figure out, they have a funny idea. They think about it. They then, they're artists, so they can draw and bring us into the scene. And then they can think of, quote, the punchline, which we call the caption. And so they're doing everything to trigger a great moment of levity and lightness and enjoyment for an audience. Nothing makes them happier than thinking that you showed it in front of a bunch of people and busted up a room while they sat in their, small little back office, busting themselves up and hoping that someone else made somebody else laugh.
I could just picture these people, the cartoonists that are just like laughing their butts off. Like they're like, this is so funny.
They must do that. Honey, what do you think? Oh my God, that's so funny. But the good news is we get to then stand on their shoulders and get the same response that they got, same feeling they got, and share that with others. And so it's, it's just a great win-win for everybody.
Oh yeah, I love that. All right, so here's a more serious question. So should someone ever risk telling a joke if they're in a more serious business setting? Is that an absolute no-no, or do you think it's great to lighten the mood? What do you think about that?
Well, for me, on Humor Point, so Humor Point has a variety of humor tools. One of the tools is called the perfect joke. And the reason it's called the perfect joke is because I have curated, I've looked 1,000 jokes, and it turns out there aren't that many well-written jokes. Most jokes either not funny enough to tell, or they're not appropriate to tell. So there might be literally worldwide 100 really well-written jokes that anybody can tell and get the response they want without any risk and with a lot of people surprised at what a hilarious story you just told. So that's, if you're going to tell a joke, and you would go to the perfect joke and take a half hour, read through them, find one that you think, that one I could tell. And then, practice it and tell it. And you can even read the joke if you have to. But the point is, you can tell a joke, but the problem with jokes is not the joke. The problem with joke is, it is the joke. The joke is not good enough to tell. So Humor Point is like the good housekeeping seal of jokes to tell. Now, the other thing you can do is, which I'm going to share briefly, which is a pithy statement. So a pithy statement would be, if I'm talking about how meetings are so boring, I might say, B2B doesn't have to stand for boring to boring, right? So that's a little insight, a little kind of a lighthearted statement. The fact that I've said it makes people think, hey, this guy's kind of funny and he's smart and he's insightful. So you don't even have to tell a big joke. You can simply tell a clever little statement that is also a joke, because the definition of a joke is simply something designed to elicit laughter. That's all it is. So it's not complicated. And it can be anything, but the main thing is the intention to put a smile on people's faces, however you go about doing that. But I will say, if you tell a joke, you will amaze people. You will transform people's view of you from then on. If you nail a joke, you got a well-written joke, go to Humor Point, perfect joke. Okay, that's my joke. I love that joke. You practice it, you tell it. People will never see you the same again. They'll think you're the smartest guy and you should be running the place. So
yeah.
Oh my gosh. It's fun to do.
Yes. So fun. All right. So now he talked about this. You probably know this, being in the industry, but Tom Fishburne, the founder and CEO of Marketunist. You heard of him?
You love Tom Fishburne.
Robert? Yeah.
Love Tom.
Yeah. But had his success using content from him. So I love what you're saying of, you don't have to create the content. People have already created the content for you. You could take something that you find the perfect cartoon and spin it and make it your own, but put it up there and just say, hey, I love this. Like I use that one I told you about, the business card cannon, and it fit in so well with the networking talk I did, because so many people are like, oh my gosh, I've been there. Oh my gosh, that's this person right here. Like they were telling jokes with each other and I was just laughing and sitting back.
Well, first of all, Tom is a great guy. He's a local guy here. And on Perfect Cartoon, the search engine for cartoons, you type in his name and up will come a whole bunch of his cartoons.
Yeah.
The whole thing started a few years ago where I went to a presentation like yours, you did the other day, and somebody showed a cartoon. And I was so shocked, as you were when you showed yours the other day, by the response. I just showed this cartoon and it's literally transformed the mood in this room. Wow. People are abuzz with excitement. People are laughing. Afterwards, people are asking me to send them the cartoon, that whole thing. So I saw someone deliver a cartoon like you did, and I was shocked by the response, the incredible positive goodwill generated in that room after 5 to 7 seconds that it took people to grasp what they were looking at. So that's a transformational technology. And my idea is to get that transformational technology into millions more people's hands so many more people can enjoy having the confidence when they begin a presentation or a webinar or whatever with some humor that really speaks for itself and delivers a great message and speaks greatly about the presenter.
Right. Okay. And we've got a comment coming here. Royce Blake, thank you so much for being on live with us. He says, plus it helps put your audience at ease. They are tense too. And I think we often forget that. We forget that they're tense just as much as we are. Yeah, so
Royce,
it does.
I want to say what's interesting about that. So as it turns out, when people come into particularly not a webinar, but it could be, but particularly a live presentation, people are even a business meeting, a sales presentation. People are nervous. They're going to be bored. They're nervous. It's not going to be worth their time. They're nervous. They're going to be trapped there. And so they need to be tipped off very early that their fears and anxieties are not going to be played out, and they can relax and realize they didn't blow it by either being there or getting stuck there or whatever. Yeah. So it allows their emotional state to relax into it. And of course, laughter is releases dopamine and serotonin. So the feel good drugs get released. So now they're in the mood to hear you. And the final thing is they see you in a new light. They've been judging you initially. Oh, this person's too tall, too short, too whatever. I'm not going to want to listen to this person. And all of a sudden you put a smile on their face, and then they're very forgiving and they're very receptive. And now you build a relationship with them, you connected with them, all their anxieties melt away. And that is the presenter's job to do that first thing. But you're right. The presenter does walk into a room that has some anxiety about those things. So
yeah. All right. Let's flip gears here a little bit too, Robert. Because we're talking about tools you can use, and it's not just jokes, it's not just cartoons, but what about GIFs? I see this a lot in emails lately, like a lot of GIFs, a lot of memes, things like that. Do you feel like that keeps the reader reading more? Do you feel like that's a great way to just break up, some of your content? What do you think about that?
So like all of these things here, if you go on the internet to look for GIFs, jokes, cartoons, anything, you're going to get the flotsam and jetsam. You're going to get a lot of really inappropriate content. And so now you're spending time, is this good enough? I don't know. So with Humor Point, you go there, you're looking at the very best of the best right off the bat. So now you can kind of really think at a little higher level, what is my message? What is my point I want to make here that's going to not only elicit a real good feeling, but is also going to be appropriate and welcomed and shared. And like, hey, would you send me? Oh, that was hilarious. So the GIF side, I've got a section on Humor Point called the Perfect GIF. These are all handpicked by me over many years. These are the best of the best of the best. And what makes them really good is they're clean. They have they're short little vignettes, but they end on a nice note. They are not jerky and weird looking.
Yeah.
They're natural and they tell a story. And then you put it, for example, I'm a big believer you put a GIF into an email. And if it really is charming, again, we're talking about same thing in emails in a presentation. People are anxious about looking at your email. They're like, uh-oh, I can't wait to get rid of this email. Should I spend any more seconds on here? But if they see a GIF that makes them smile or anything that makes them smile, they're like, oh, well, this is different. This is kind of fun. And they read on. And now they got a quick dopamine rush of feel-good lightness. And so, yes, I like GIFs, really great GIFs that let you, put a smile on people's face. And they do.
Yeah.
And memes do too.
theperfectcartoon.com. So that's where you can go to get the cartoons, the GIFs, or Humor Point.
Right. Humor Point is a suite of humor tools. Perfect Cartoon is one of the tools.
Okay. All right. Good stuff. Okay. Well, I know we're winding down a little bit here too. Robert, do you have some shameless plugs that you'd like to give the audience, people who are watching the replay? I know you have a masterclass that you are doing right now. So tell us a little bit more about that.
I'm working on the masterclass. It's not ready for prime time yet, but that's coming out. I do want to say that people understand that the Perfect Cartoon was built by myself and Adam Chire, and Adam Chire is the creator of Siri. So, you have a high-level person who believes in the power of cartoons and making these available to the world. So I'm excited about that. And mainly just go to Humor Point and take a night off of Netflix and have a great time entertaining yourself on Humor Point and improve your sense of humor and your ability to make other people smile.
And record it. I think it'd be so fun if you just record yourself laughing. It'd be fun. It'd be fun. And doing it with the Santa, face on. All right. Well, very good, Robert. Well, just a couple of announcements. So Tisha Talks Live, we have 2 more episodes, actually 1 more episode in December 15th. Derek Mildred is going to join me. And then this show is actually moving to Fridays at 10:45. I realize that making enchiladas, getting kids, from school home, taking care of dogs going crazy with the ice cream truck right at 5:00 is just insane. And trust me, if you guys have watched this show, it happens. I'm like, chicken timers going off, dogs barking, kids popping in. It's nuts. So I'm going to make it so I'm less stressed. That's always a good thing as we enter into the new year. And And I'm actually going to move this show to 10:45 live on Fridays, just to give myself a little bit more breathing room to be able to do this more professionally. See dogs barking, Robert.
I love dogs.
Yeah, but I appreciate, Robert, you coming on as we end out the rest of this year, and would love to have you back in the new year too, and hear more about your masterclass and so on. And yeah, so thanks again for being on with me today. And tell us, how can people, aside from humorpoint.com, how can people find you?
That's your best way, I would say. Obviously, I'm on LinkedIn, and I post a lot at LinkedIn. So if you follow me on LinkedIn, you're going to learn a lot more. I'm always teaching on LinkedIn. I do suggest, if anybody has a presentation they have coming up, they'd like me to help them humor point it for you, DM me on LinkedIn. I'm happy to help you, knock it out of the park for your next presentation or your next.
I love it. I love that. Thank you so much for that offer too of, hey, if you have a presentation coming up, Robert's your guy to ask. Talk to him about it. He can give you some pointers on what to include to really lighten the mood of your presentation and get your audience not so tense, like they're ready to listen. Yeah, that's what it's about. I love presenting, and I always feel that, having humor incorporated into it, like little jokes that we tell, just does. It sets the mood, it sets the stage, and it's just, you just ease into it like you're talking to friends, not so nervous.
Makes you likable, makes you a friend right away.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Robert, for being on.
Thank you so much. You're such a wonderful person. Thank you so much.
I think I have Santa hair in my mouth. If you guys missed it, you'll have to tune in to the very beginning where I had my little Santa face on. And I feel for you boys with the beards and the mustaches. I was like, Santa, man, I have no idea how you do it.
Not easy, Santa.
Not easy. Well, happy holidays, everybody. Again, I'll be back next week with Derek Mildred on how to gain traction on LinkedIn. So make sure you tune in for that. And then we're off for the holidays and back January 7th, 10:45 on Fridays. So we'll see ya. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. See you, everybody.
Bye.
See you, Tisha.